US supports vaccination drive. Remote border village builds first school. And royal family pays last respects.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Seah.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Sunday's news. The United States has put more efforts in monetary value to roll out vaccination in the country. U.S. Ambassador to Papua New Guinea, Aaron McKee, says U.S. wants to accelerate the manufacturing and distribution of vaccines by supporting small countries. Ambassador McKee says the pandemic is serious and working to end it is the only global solution.
Speaking at the official launch of the COVAX facility in Port Moresby, the U.S. ambassador says the pandemic will not end soon. Despite more efforts and strategies endorsed by health authorities, more work needs to be done. Ambassador McKee says the United States has recently announced more funding to support vaccination around the globe.
The United States has made a $2 billion contribution to COVAX this year, and we plan to contribute an additional $2 billion to Gavi in the coming months. This is because we want to accelerate our work with other nations, with the WHO, with UNICEF, with the Global Fund, and with every partner that's here today to expand COVAX support and scale up vaccine manufacturing, supplies, and distribution. Together, we're increasing the world's manufacturing capacity so that we can get more shots out the door and into people's arms as fast as possible.
With UN and other development partners joining hands to back the COVAX facility, the United States is gearing as well. Ambassador McKee says US is in the process of driving forward vaccination. According to a plan, small Pacific islands are priority.
COVAX started with a target to deliver enough vaccines to cover 20% of populations in participant countries by the end of 2021, that's this year. To truly bring an end to the acute phase of this pandemic, we must aspire to vaccinate more people. We must come together as a global community to increase our ambition and ensure COVAX has the resources that it needs.
Health Minister Jalta Wong thanked development partners for the support towards the government and health sector. Minister Wong says more needs to be done to stop or eradicate the pandemic. He says the government wants the vaccination rollout to provinces.
I want to emphasize and commend again the international solidarity, the support that we have internationally for Papua New Guinea. This by far is the greatest feat that we've had in Papua New Guinea. I look forward to the national deployment, the rollout to all parts of Papua New Guinea, and the continued support from each and every one of you.
Jagla Pava Jr., National EMTV News.
The PNG Council of Churches is backing government's option to use the AstraZeneca vaccine in the country. Members of the council said people must adhere to health advice and must not listen to rumors surrounding the side effects of the vaccine.
Let's not take it too negative and stop those people who should continue to live on from living on and cause them to die at early age. And we have a responsibility towards the livelihood of everyone. So we should think positive in relation to this vaccine.
If God has given wisdom to people to create this new vaccine, I think there's no need for us to question. We should allow people to take this, to defend themselves. According to what we are hearing, it's 70%. It's got a 70% in it to protect us from getting this COVID-19.
Passing long, come back long, facing this big challenge, and long prayer. So now, you look long this na by me, kisim this road now. Bungim you me, all geta, long as passing below prayer.
The Directorate for Social Change and Mental Health Services and the PNG Mental Health Fraternity are overcoming COVID challenges as they continue to bring psychiatric care. With the help of many partners, including the PNGDF, they have set up tents within the Ward 6 fencing at the Port Moresby General Hospital. Directorate Acting Director Dr. Uma Ambi says it's all about serving the people during this pandemic, and it's quite challenging. The tents are set up to ensure that COVID measures are implemented as patients come to get their medication. And also patients will be at peace knowing that they are receiving quality psychiatric care during this time. Under the National Mental Health Policy, the health services are free of charge. The Tigedu Jetty project of Finchafen district in Morbe province was launched yesterday. The 2 million kina project was funded by the Works Ministry and is a vital service to the people of the surrounding areas. Finchafen MP and Minister for National Planning, Rainbow Paita, officiated the groundbreaking ceremony of the project. Mr. Paita said this project will be a corridor for more services coming to the LLG. Minister Paita also donated more than 20 water pumps to the Wangidu villages of Ward 10 located within the Yabi Mape LLG. Korige, a remote village on the border of Madang and Eastern Highlands provinces, has finally opened its first primary school. Education Secretary Dr. Uke Kombra says the community's efforts in building classrooms and teachers' houses shows the people's desire and need for service. The new school now serves people living in both provinces.
Korige village is one of the places in Papua New Guinea yet to see a government service like health and education. The village shares border with Eastern Highlands and Madang provinces and has never seen government services since independence. A community spokesperson, Sio Mesili, says his people had missed out on basic services.
Since independence, no at one money looks avelo mipla. Mipla stablo to tak. Planti, member mipla maki mol go inside na ultino sem goroka look out mipla. Na goroka tino sem medem look out mipla. True, mipla follow here.
On Saturday, Education Minister Jimmy Yuguro and the Education Secretary Dr. Uke Kombra visited the first primary school set up in the community. Korige Primary School is the first government service to reach this remote community. Education Secretary Dr. Uke Kombra praised the community for embracing change and has invested their time in building the classrooms and teachers' houses.
But we're looking for sir. People work please. Our classroom will come up in, there's a field people working, or plenty work people working please. And we show him desire and heart people along service.
Education Minister and member for Usino Bundi Jimmy Yuguro did the groundbreaking ceremony to open the new school and gave 20,000 kina for the school's library. The Usino DDA also gave 50,000 kina to the newly established school.
The invited secretary of the enemy, people can plan long or push schools. I wear a white line, a quota. The people are looking at push schools. Every 3 months, on this government today, Honorable James Malape, Prime Minister, for making more people on push must come up one kind of simple line, no white line.
The people of Korige still need other basic services like health and road. It takes almost 2 days to get to Madang Town or to Goroka in Eastern Highlands Province. While accessing health services still remains a challenge for this remote community.
That's a stop hard life. I'm going to market to him hard. That's I go long way. That's a Karapi Mountain, Barret, don't lahab.
Mathaluis National EMTV News, Madang.
Over 200 employees of South Pacific International Container Terminal in Lae would now have access to their Nest Fund and NCSL details following the setup of their internet service booth. The service will be a one-stop service where the employees can easily print out their account balances, personal details and transaction summaries. The South Pacific International Container Terminal in Lae is one of the 6 companies in Morbe that has a Nest Fund and NCSL service booth set up at their office location. The facility, including the office space with desktops and internet service provided by ICTS for the HR to manage. According to Nest Fund Regional Team Leader for Momase, Geita Boasa, Nest Fund is assisting over 100 employers to set up the internet service.
The employer will have to provide the facility, like the printer and the computer, desktop printer, internet service, the internet service. We will provide, we will come, we only set up the system, like install the system and register the employees, the online portal so they can access the service here.
National EMTV News continues with this week's A Closer Look after the break. Welcome back. Frontliners in the health and education sectors of Papua New Guinea are challenged in their line of duty as they contribute to PNG's COVID-19 response. Health workers and school teachers have been affected by the surge in COVID-19 cases, disrupting their work and creating a level of uncertainty amongst them as COVID-19 vaccination is rolled out, requesting the government for assistance to ensure their safety. Here is this week's A Closer Look with Dennis O'Reilly.
What's the word? Leg.
The sectors of health and education have always been identified amongst key agendas for PNG governments under various leaderships since independence in 1975. Frontline health workers in the country have been caught in a dilemma over the past month as AstraZeneca vaccines arrived from Australia and India, and the PNG government and relevant authorities commenced the vaccination rollout. Their safety has been a great concern as they deal with COVID-19 patients firsthand on a daily basis amidst the spike in the number of cases as well as deaths relating to COVID-19 in the country. Whilst concerns over personal protective equipment and other necessities for the frontline health workers have been raised since the global pandemic reached PNG, the frontliners have also raised issues of safety surrounding the AstraZeneca vaccine, given that they will be among the first group of the country's population to receive the vaccine. But after some panel discussions and awareness on the vaccine, the vaccination rollout for frontline health workers has commenced and is in progress. At Port Moresby General Hospital, the largest referral hospital in the country, over 150 staff of the hospital tested positive for COVID-19 over the past month, affecting operations at the hospital. However, the situation is gradually recovering.
We had over 150 of our staff that went down with COVID, mostly in the emergency department. So here you can see a scenario where more loads are coming in, but the staff numbers are reducing. So the staff has been stressed to the limit. Thankfully, none of them are in the severe category that many of them have returned to work after 2 weeks of isolation, 10 days or so. And staff shortage is a concern to us.
And vaccination of frontline health workers at the hospital has also been a challenge.
Number of nurses getting vaccinated at Port Moresby General is much less than what we anticipated. So for that reason, we had a meeting today with the Nation Union and with the Governor of NCD and the Health Secretary were here to address our nurses. And then we also invited Professor Vince from the university to give some scientific background of to put to rest all this misinformation that are going on in the social media, which is confusing our staff to be vaccinated. So the Nation Union have pointed out
their concerns to the health secretary and of course to the governor as well. And then many of the doubts that they had was cleared. So hopefully in the next few days our nation workforce will get vaccinated.
Despite mixed public reaction to the AstraZeneca vaccine, Port Moresby General Hospital CEO Dr. Paki Molumi says it is important for people to be vaccinated to reduce the risk of the transmission of COVID-19 at the earliest time possible. In the education sector, the school calendar has been disrupted a number of times since 2020 as a result of lockdowns and isolation strategies put in place by authorities. School holidays had to be brought forward, and school authorities with their teaching staff had to come up with special arrangements to ensure students didn't miss out on being taught whilst adhering to COVID-19 protocols. The latest suspension of classes has been for a month, with resumption expected tomorrow. However, earlier this week, the PNG Teachers Association, upon concluding its first National Management Committee meeting for the year at Gateway Hotel in Port Moresby, issued a 24-hour ultimatum to the National Department of Education, Teaching Service Commission, the national government and other relevant authorities to seriously consider the safety of teachers in their line of duties with regards to PNG's COVID-19 response.
Teaching Services Commission and the Education Secretary, have they prepared such things here? Or have they found extra money to each school? Because there's a lot of money coming from COVID-19, foreign aid. Government is providing. What's happening to teachers and schools?
And we've given an ultimatum of 24 hours. If the minister doesn't want to come and talk to us, well, that's good. If the Secretary of the Department of Education doesn't want to talk to us, that's okay. The TSC doesn't want to come and negotiate with us, that's okay. But when the teachers stop work, that's the bottom line. That's where we are coming from.
The PNG TA executives, in issuing the demands, said failure to respond or comply by relevant authorities would result in a nationwide teachers' strike.
The NMC calls upon the Teaching Service Commission, the Ministry of Education, the National Department of Education, and the government of Papua New Guinea give you all 24 hours ultimate to respond to above mentioned claims. 2. Failure to respond positively to all the above. PNG will seek industrial action through the Office of the Industrial Registrar to continue dialogue for a possibility of nationwide either sit-in strike or strike walk on the street.
After the ultimatum lapsed, the relevant authorities made their respective responses.
The Secretary and I have not received copies of any of those ultimatums. That's 1. 2, to give an organization 24-hour ultimatum is practically impossible to fulfill and to see and to respond. So Aita Sanangape and Chanel Co and their team have to do the right thing. That's number 1. Number 2, Aita Sanangape, the teachers must know, is a retired officer. He was retired by the Teaching Service Commission. Under the industrial law, he did not have a teaching position. He was not on the payroll, and as such, is not a member of Teaching Service Commission, and therefore him making those statements out there are misleading.
In these trying times when this world pandemic is around, you know, people shouldn't give demands. We are trying our best to mitigate and make sure that we look after everybody. And for them to give demands like this is very time-consuming for the education department to go and work through the programs with them. I can't speak on behalf of the education minister, but I'm sure that he will take it up.
Or PNGTA, or teachers union, only like more teachers you know can go back. Me like talk ourselves. Yes, union got right long, welfare belong all teachers. Long tok kismeri belong all teacher, na come na tok want them teachers service commission or teaching service commission. Long state side, long government side, TSC but okay, display more right, display no got about tok. Tok go na suppose tok go one bill. Now next action on succeed or go or some strike or no can strike or go back and this place will come up behind. So on Monday or teacher will go back to school.
My official response will come on Monday, but generally speaking, this is a pandemic and it's not a normal issue that we all are trying to address. So everyone, all institutions and everybody else are complied to Pandemic Act, and also the person in charge of this pandemic is the controller, which the government of Papua New Guinea has appointed. So basically, education department has got no right to move away from the controller's directions. So spare the decision. We will still resume classes on Monday until and when we find our way out of that.
EMTV News also visited a few schools in NCD during the week to get their views of resuming classes tomorrow as scheduled and adhering to COVID-19 protocols. We spoke to the principal of Badihagwa Technical Secondary School.
We are excited as a principal for children to come back to school, but we are mindful of their health. The way we look at the classroom areas, we are mindful of the overcrowding. It's beyond and over. So we have been given we had a principal's meeting on Thursday in Bomandila Cell, and so every school is given the opportunity to work out how they can best interest of the school. So when we come on Monday, I will meet with my senior teachers to work out a strategy where we will receive grade 9s and 11s in other days, and grade 10s and 12s like last year. So the grade when the grade 10s and 12s come on Mondays, they use all grade 9 and 10 classrooms. And grade 12, they use all grade 11 and 12 classrooms. So that's a strategy we are looking at.
Mr. Bala says purchasing necessary equipment to adhere to COVID-19 protocols using school subsidy funds has been a challenge.
We don't have even COVID-19 funding. And so we are blowing up the very little the money that we have received, TFF and the parents' component. But talking about millions of kina has been poured into in the country, but we are frontliners, schools are frontliners, but we are not receiving any, COVID-19 funding.
So schools will resume tomorrow as scheduled after a 4-week suspension, but under strict COVID-19 protocols. Despite threats of a nationwide strike by teachers, from the PNG TA perspective, education authorities have urged all teachers to resume work commencing term 2 of the 2021 school calendar. As frontliners in the health and education sectors continue their work in spite of difficult times with the onset of COVID-19, their efforts remain key to PNG's fight against COVID-19 now and in ensuring a better future for Papua New Guinea.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The PNG Hunters have maintained their winning ways with a 32-12 win over the Sunshine Coast Falcons. The Hunters took an early lead and maintained it to win their 3rd game in a row.
The PNG Hunters took on the Sunshine Coast Falcons with a great start in the opening 5 minutes. Terry Wapi with a clever dummy to score the team's first points.
Terry Wapi, dummies beats one! Oh, he's over!
But the Falcons came back 10 minutes later and taking a 2-point lead.
Pass for McGavin, and the try scoring continues.
but it was Bartowopora Jr.'s short kick to the left edge, pounced on by Norman Brown on debut. The Hunters stretched their lead further, taking a 14 points to 6 lead into half-time, with a try by Benji Kelly.
Chance here, it's Ben Kelly.
The second half saw Kelly stretching the Hunters' lead off dummy half.
Kelly picks it up from dummy half. He's claiming the try, Ben Kelly.
Falcons look to make a comeback through Tyson Smoothie in the 63rd minute.
Smoothie gets the ball down for the Falcons.
But Samuel Yegip's try put the scoreline out of reach.
And what about the pass? And Samuel Yagip is over.
Norman Brown sealing the victory right on full time.
The phone, Warren, tap and go here.
Hunters winning the match 32 points to 12. Felix Sukina, Trukai Sports.
Providing a competitive cricket competition in the nation's capital, the Kirakira Ogo Cricket Association has been in action since the start of the year, giving the cricket players from the community the opportunity to take to the field since the suspension of the main town competition.
The Kirakira Ogo Cricket Competition, which commenced earlier this year, is heading towards its finals, with teams stepping up on the field to secure their place in the playoffs, scheduled for May. Using the T20 format for their matches, the 6-team competition has provided clubs, players and cricket fans with a competitive outlet to participate in.
So this is basically a village competition. We've got players that are playing in the town, comes in the village, we play our village competition and so forth, yes. So we've got 6 teams. So we started off early this year, and we've continued. We've got a couple more games to finish our competition, at least about 3 left. And the competition is led by Ogoniva. They're in the first place now. They're on 26 points. We have Mahana and Boramana, who are also coming in. And then we've got Manuaga and Butka in the last place. Yes. It's a T20. Because of the COVID, our problem is cricket balls. And the cricket balls are not cheap. They're very expensive. But the team members are really interested. So they come up with at least 5 kina player. And Brian Bell gives us a discount, so we're able to buy those balls. Yes.
Haxi Lovai, Trukai Sport.
Trukai Sports continues with more after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The local community of Tuna Bay have come together to build stronger social ties amongst the local residents through the sport of volleyball. This is one of the reasons behind the formation of the Tuna Bay Volleyball Association.
And actually, from experience, it's not a new thing. From me as a volleyball president for Tuna Bay Volleyball Association, this is the second time that I've hosted the tournament. The first one, it was hosted last year, which I, with my officials or executive, have been organized that and run it successfully. But actually, the purpose of this tournament is to bring the youth together, to know each other, basically to minimize law and order issues. That's the main purpose and intention of this tournament. But this tournament has catered for all the community within the Tuna Taurama area. And we've also given the support from Pari Taurama LLG Council as well. And we've received good feedbacks from our youths. There were no result of youths being drinking, coming up and showing up, or there were no results of youths being misbehaved in the community from my experience, hosting this tournament. So.
The Royals Rugby League Club of Port Moresby hosted their annual general meeting, but because the majority of the members of the club were not present, there will be a special election AGM this weekend.
The 6 Mile Police Station served as the venue for the Royals Rugby League Club in Port Moresby for the team's annual general meeting. Present were executives of the club to conduct the AGM, with a few observers, including the director of the PNG RFL, Southern Confederate, Guaibo Mairi. Royals President Brian Combe said it was a tough year for the club.
Our performance, actually our women under 20, they made it to the finals. But for the A grade, they didn't make it to the finals. That was the first time, how many years that our A grade didn't make it into the final.
Combe has been club president for the past 5 years, and during his tenure, the club also won a premiership in 2017.
Since 2015, I was the president of Royal still. But when I became the president, they were, clubs where we made some good performance of the club. And we made some good, we made into finals, A grade, won the premiership, Rugby League, and those ninth competition and all these things.
But despite the hosting of the AGM, which included elections, not all the club members turned up for the AGM. The club has a total number of registered members, close to almost 70, but on the day only 15 were present.
Majority, nearly over the line, people under 20 now, A grade, come. Plenty of people don't come. Despite message, people are putting on media, even nothing. We ring coach, people are drinking 1 month of players. Talking about the people back at AGM, the 6 mile. Please tell people come down and we get this thing out of the way before the season starts.
After much deliberation on the floor, the agenda of the elections was moved to this weekend, with the executives tasked to inform all club members to attend a special election AGM.
So Brian and his executives are going to issue notice for an AGM special. It's going to be called a special AGM, purposely one agenda, and that's elections.
Fidelis Sukina, Trukai Sports.
And then on Trukai Sports, the weather details after the break.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
A look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. Cloudy with some showers and possible thunderstorms in Port Moresby. Cloudy with evening showers in Daru, Kerema and Popondetta, and mostly fine weather in Alotau. In the Mamasa region, cloudy with a few showers in Ley, Medang, Wewak and Vanimo, and some showers in Wau. In the New Guinea Islands region, cloudy with a few showers in Lorengau, KV, Kokopo and Rabaul, a few showers in Kimbe, and partly cloudy weather in Buka with a top temperature of 31. In the Highlands region, cloudy with brief showers in Mount Hagen, Goroka and Kundiawa with a top of 25. And in Mendi and Wabeg, cloudy with some showers with a top of 23 and a low of 11.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that's been the news, sport and weather for today, Sunday the 18th of April 2021. From all of us here at EMTV, have a safe working week. Pleasant viewing. Good night.